What up, family? This is the Decisive Element podcast with Ronnie Portillo. Now let's get it. You ready? You good?
Good.
I'm good.
Cool.
I'm getting so much more comfortable in this space. It's so cool, man.
It's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Decisive Element podcast. We got Tree Hill for you.
What's up?
What up? Hey,
What's popping?
I'm grateful for you being here. I really appreciate it.
I'm very thankful to be here.
Yeah. Thanks for saying
cool.
yes.
It's cool to be in this space with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to get down, have some conversations. Everyone chillax, be here, and catch the vibe, mofos. Catch the vibe. You going to say what up? You going to say what up, Mustache Mike?
Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah, he's here too.
I appreciate you letting me be behind or in front of the camera last week.
Oh, you're welcome, man. We have a little thing like his.
We let him out every now and
then.
Yeah,
that's his first time. So he talks right now. And
yeah.
Oh, we announced on the podcast, right? So if we get 1,000 likes, you'll be able to see his face.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
1,000 likes on that episode, yeah.
The episode.
I'm telling you, ladies, you know.
Yeah. Shout out.
It might be worth it.
It might be worth it.
Might be worth it.
Dirty Stash gonna show you what's up. All right, but we're here with Tree Hill.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? You know, I've watched you from afar. I've watched you up close. I've seen you all around. I read your poetry. I've seen your little style going on. And I've just been like, I want to talk to Tree.
Word.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm really excited that you said yes and talked to you on this. I mean, we've already been having good conversations, I feel like, since we've been on our way here, chilling. So let's tell the people who Tree is. What does Tree do? What does Tree like to work on? What is Tree trying to create? What is Tree?
I'm glad that you asked me what does Tree do, because the question of who is Tree confuses me. Mostly because I'll just let people tell me who I am to them, right? Not, let me clear that up. Not that I allow people to dictate who I am, right? I know who I am.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing to express who I am, right? It's just like you just experience who I am, you know. What I do though, it's something I can answer. I'm a lyricist. I'm a poet. Began in the spoken word sort of space, writing and performing and participating in different types of poetry events, open mic events, etc. And I also really am very fascinated by the mind, body, spirit complexes, meaning for me, it's imperative to know thyself and to literally, if you will, purge all that does not serve me or any illusion that I've found myself attached to growing up in the social system of what we call I don't know.
Society, tribe, culture.
Across the planet.
Yeah.
For really, I mean, I've, in comparison to the history of this planet, I'm very young, but spiritually, one would say, our eldest ancestor is Source, the very entity that created us, which we are here individually experiencing it.
Yes.
Right, as human beings. And so I would say a part of my work is, I guess you can say, inner work. I don't like to use the word work when I'm talking about inner work, but most people know it in that way. But yeah, just really diving deep within myself, channels in my mind, and really moving things that don't belong there, that aren't actually me. And by that, I mean, aren't truth, aren't love, aren't this sort of, when we talk about Christ or Christ consciousness, like this unconditional thing that we are, right? And that we give to others. That's probably my top priority or thing. And that's really not even something I do. That's just who I am, right? And the most exciting thing for me to explore is my own consciousness, or specifically the subconscious, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what's in the subconscious that's been hiding from me? Come out. I got you. Wow, the mind is good.
Yeah.
And then our social complex is even greater because I use this word they. I know it's a confusing word. I would say that the design of, how do I say that? What's been designed psychologically to make imprints on humans for thousands and thousands of years are so deep and embedded in the mind that we don't even really know what's happening. And it's almost like a bug. And it's just like, fucking got you. Like,
hell yeah.
Didn't even realize I was participating in this thing that I don't agree with at all, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like moving those things so that we can get back to truth,
Yep.
to love, really, So I would say, that and music and poetry are my things. And, I mean, once upon a time, I was a event organizer.
Oh, okay.
I am still that, but since COVID, I've taken some time away from that. So we'll see what the future holds regarding me getting back into that space. So
Got you. Well, I think I'm like, I find very similarities in the same thing because I feel like that's what I kind of do with myself. Right, because I feel everything that comes out of me is a reflection of what's happening internally within me. So how I speak to others, how my job is, how my career is, I'm working with my wife, my kids, my friends, my group, my collective that I'm all part of, all has to do with how I'm feeling within myself. So if I improve myself, I kind of feel, I catch those bugs that you were saying, right? Gotcha, motherfucker. Boom. It's just like, you learn something new and then your body gets relaxed and you're more eased in the world. So then I can show up better for myself. So I think that's hella dope. How long were you doing like event planning before?
Thank you for sharing, by the way.
Yep.
About 8 years. I think last year. So for those who are local in Vegas, there was an event called Soul Sessions. Myself and my friend Bobby and another friend of mine, Zuli, and then there's a team of us. Some of you may know John and Duop and Tamara and Kismet. We put this event on. It's an open mic. It's a really cool open mic in Angle, meaning that like I've been to many open mics, and there's some wonderful open mics here in town. Shout out Jam.
The Jam, we're going to be there on the 23rd. Will this podcast be out by then? I think so.
What's this? I think maybe not.
Okay.
Maybe
we'll have a good time. We might be able to do something about it. Yeah.
We'll throw a clip. We'll cut a clip.
We'll cut a clip. Shout out to the Jam. Be there on the 23rd.
23rd.
Sauce is going to be there.
Amisa, Coco.
Yeah, I was about to say, right, yeah.
Yeah, some other friends are going to be there too. But Soul Sessions is dope because it's at this place called Raw Remedies, which is downtown in the Arts District. It is female and indigenous, meaning when I say that, I mean Black owned. And it has this Caribbean vibe. The colors, the embodiment of the space is just super, drops you into the space. It's just like, where am I? Am I in Vegas or somewhere else? And like just the talent just is amazing that just comes and touches the stage and the acts. And sometimes we would have art installations and we always had vendors and etc. And it was pretty dope. And for about, I think last year in April was our 7-year anniversary.
Oh, no way.
But due to COVID, we canceled it. And I didn't want to go the online route. I know now, like, I can see that better. But, our team just decided to take a break and just focus on ourselves individually. And we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated on when we come back and
Hell yeah.
in what way. I've put out some type of like inklings. Actually, I want to apologize to the Las Vegas community about put out some things on our story last year about like how, my mind, how at least from my perspective individually, how I wanted to come back or bring this back from a place of really helping people from a soul level. So our purpose and mission is to uplift the planet through art, right? And so I thought, wow, soul sessions, we could even take that a step deeper and really help people attune, right? So what resources and materials do we need to do that? And so that is still very much the intention. And but yeah, we'll keep you updated once we regroup as a team and figure out what we're going to do with that. We have some pretty cool ideas.
Well, I'm excited already. I'm like, we get some sand.
Yeah. But for now, I am focusing on an album and recording with a group of friends. We just been sort of rocking out and getting into a space of like, coming soon.
Hell yeah. Before we get into all that, let me ask this question. Like, how did you get into poetry? What triggered that expression out of you, and how long has that been going on?
So in elementary school and middle school, I went to a performing arts school. So I'm from Akron, Ohio. And I went to a school called Miller South, which is Miller South School for the Performing Arts, right? So I originally, not a lot of people know this, but I draw and paint and all that. So that's like my first artistry. It's like what I first discovered I could do.
Got you into it.
Right. And that's what I got. So for that school, you have to audition. So I got in for that. But right when I was getting out of middle school and going to high school, I started asking my mom a bunch of questions about my dad because I've actually never met my dad. I don't know him. Don't know anything about him really, or his family. Don't know. And so I started to ask my mom a bunch of questions, and I was just really angry at him.
Yeah.
Didn't know him, but I was just angry, right? And so I wrote a poem. And I was a cheerleader. So I was a cheerleader from the time I was like 7 or 8. Yeah. Until I was like 17 or something.
Dang.
And so
never would have guessed.
I know.
Were you a flyer?
I wasn't a flyer. So let's just be clear. Flyers come from privileged schools.
I didn't know.
I went to a public high school in Akron, Ohio. We didn't have insurance for to fly and shit. So
that means throwing up in the sky, right?
That's what I don't know. I barely grasped that like term, honestly. Right. It was like in the very back of my head somewhere, but you're kind of more like smaller, so I just was like assumed maybe, I don't know.
Right. I mean, I could do some incredible round offs and cartwheels and toe touches and I was pretty legit. Yeah. What they say.
Well, bro, that was the feedback. 10 years, man. 11 years. You gotta get something in there.
Yeah. Right. So I performed it for my cheerleading squad. So I was a freshman in high school. Yeah. And it was such an angry piece, and they all laughed at me, but said it was good. So it's like, you're so angry, ha ha ha, but it's good, right? Yeah. And I'm like, cool. I just kept writing. Yeah. And that's pretty much where it started, and the rest is pretty much history. How
did you feel writing it? Like, what did it make you feel to keep doing it besides the external validation? Like, what did it do for you when you felt like put those lines on the paper?
Well, when I wrote it, because it's funny, the way that I write now is the way that I wrote that poem, as in I memorize as I write, and I really get into the emotion because I'm only writing what I'm feeling anyway. Yeah. And so I knew it was good because I felt it really powerfully. Gotcha. I mean, I'm 14, so like contextually, it's like, who the fuck knows what it sounds like today? Like, I don't know. I probably would not ever perform that poem now, but Yeah, I really felt passionate about it.
Okay.
And that was something that always moved me. I mean, coming from a performing arts school, and I always felt like super, my grandma would call me like eccentric a lot as a kid. And I was really like, I felt weird, but I also felt cool. Because like I'm from this community of people who are just fucking cool by nature.
Yeah.
And then I'm also like this weird, like open, optimistic person, but I hide it in some spaces.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like I hide it in some spaces, but I really felt like so much energy as a kid, right? And so being able to express that kind of in elementary school and be like the weirdo art kid and then, you know, back into my neighborhood and it's just like cool tree. Like, like I've always.
Yeah, both worlds.
Yeah, both worlds. And so it's like. Oh,
that's cool.
So, yeah, I just felt like it was good, you know. And, yeah, I mean, my cousins, this is a big part of it. My cousins were really, like, they were artists or rappers or whatever. And so I would hang out with them. And they were my older cousins, so I thought they were cool.
Hell yeah, I'm chilling.
Yeah, my cousin Veronica really inspired me a lot. She had locks. She listened to Lauryn Hill. So I really, you can tell, like when you hear my stuff, you can hear the inspiration from some of the artists. One being Lauryn Hill, but I don't feel like I sound like Lauryn Hill, but you can tell that like she inspired me.
Of course, yeah.
Like but yeah. So yeah, I guess since I wasn't drawing and painting at the time, I just kept writing.
Something needed to come out.
Yeah.
In some way. Yeah,
it helped me. I felt like a relief of like, wow, this is actually pretty good. I'll keep going with this.
Man, I resonate with so much when you said, like inside, you're always optimistic and stuff, but you don't know where to, when you feel safe is when you really let it out.
Right.
Right. Like I feel that there's certain people I go around here, certain tribes I be around. I'm like, only some of them get all of me.
Right.
You know, and until I think that goes back to like, I think we're in the beginning of the podcast where it's like, who am I? Because that's a question what's inside me that I have to answer.
Right.
And just like you, right? So it's like, am I able to be who I am in all situations? And if not, then the question arises, then why?
Can I reflect on that real quick?
Reflect on what?
So now I don't feel like I conflict with that.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like it took me years of going within myself and really humbling myself to a place of like purging, right?
Yes.
And by purging people, just go look it up. Really moving things out of my system and really being real with myself and not quote unquote shy and afraid of being perceived whatever, you know, hyper sensitive or whatever. Because, right, we're all empaths, right?
Yeah.
But to the degree of which you can actually be honest with yourself about what you're feeling and believing that and being able to discern what is yours, what is others, what is ancestral, what is societal, what is... It's so many layers.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
One thing I've been realizing lately, what's been coming up to me as I've been doing that own work with inside myself and reflection that I have like towards other people, a lot of that is that I didn't know how to have healthy conflict. Right? Like constructive conflict conversations or knowing how to control my emotions and express this is how I feel, no matter what your behavior did to me. It might be your reality, but this is how I feel about it, and not allowing myself to like feel that feeling. But at the same time, just because someone hurt me or someone did something to me doesn't mean I have to hurt them back. But I can express my boundary. I can express my needs or my... I don't like needs because it's like, I mean, I know I have basic needs, but it's like a constricting word. I feel like sometimes it's like my desires from what I want from that person or what would I like from that person. And
like expectation.
Yeah, expectations, right? Or at least roles. It's like, that's a whole nother conversation. Expectations are good, but not good. It's like, got to flow with it. But in all reality, we wouldn't be friends if there wasn't some type of give and receiving from anybody, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody in the relationship in the world. That's how nature works. So I've been reflecting on myself, and then I've been seeing, especially at work, conflict resolution is a big thing that some people do not know how to deal as it, because we don't know how to do it with ourselves. I like this thing, but I do this behavior that stops me from doing that. How can I internally have that conversation with myself without shaming myself and making myself feel worse to go out to the world? So then if I can do that with inside myself, let me try to teach others and be a service to show that, hey, like, you don't need to talk that way during this thing or whatnot, if you're in positions like that, to do that. Right. But I think that is such a powerful thing. Just because we're in conflict doesn't actually mean a negative thing all the time. It's not a negative thing. It just creates change. But sometimes we need that friction to actually build the real change, to get to the real issues, to have those real breakthroughs. And as we were talking in the car, like, there's always, how many, we all hear the phrase, it's the darkest before the light, or the storm before the sunset, or whatever the hell that shit is. Like,
right.
That's because you got to shake it up.
Yeah.
Shake that bitch up, and then boom, you break through and you party.
Well, but I was going to say, it's like the, when we were just talking about, like, you want to be on that side. Yeah. It's like that. It's like a conflict, but then for a second, and then it ended up like it was constructive. It like worked. It like helped us.
I guess that's perfect. You know what I mean? Perfect example.
Right. So it's like conflict is only necessary because of where we are in our evolution. Like,
yes,
because we've got to clear a lot of shit up.
Back to the ancestor and all the stuff that you were saying.
Right. It's just like there are patterns present psychologically in all of us that aren't necessarily serving our highest, like, benefit or like our highest bliss. And so we've got to clarify, like, what did you say? What did you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, just and based off of whatever traumas we have as kids or whatever, it's just like not everybody knows how to respond. Like, there aren't, at least from my experience, like, as kids, like, when we experience conflict, like, who actually sits and talks us through these things to a point where we provide clarity. Where we're provided clarity, and, so we're adults walking around as like 7-year-olds because we last left off with this type of similar conflict, like not knowing how to resolve it at age 7, and it's just continued. And
those adults had kids, and those kids had kids, and those kids had kids. So it's like back to the generational thing. It's like, I'm very similar with my dad. I didn't meet him until I was 16.
Okay.
17. And then little did I know, it's funny, as I got older, I wasn't even like living with him or ever but patterns of behavior I could reflect in his life that reflected in my life. And I was like, oh.
How did that?
Yeah, like, I haven't been, I wasn't even raised by you fully, bro. But I'm like doing some of these behaviors, and then it just started explaining. I'm like, okay. And then I just had a phrase. I started coming up with a phrase, do the opposite of what I first think.
That's interesting. At that age?
No. Like, as I started working through it, as I should probably start doing the opposite. And that, when I mean like doing that, like probably 4 months ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do the opposite. I do not like the direction where I'm going right now.
She's like, you did that when you were 7?
Hell no.
Right. Like, good job.
Hell no.
No, but that's because, you're noticing, like, you can't really trust the mind if it's operating out of the same fear.
Yes.
Because the fear is making the decision.
Yep.
So it's just like, I've got to do something different here, or we're going to keep having this perpetual issue. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, what else do? I don't fucking know. I'm just going to go eat an apple and figure it out.
Yeah. Take a step at a time.
Yeah, apple feels good.
It does, bro. Veggies feel good, Right. Hell yeah. So when did you start turning your poetry into music? I'm guessing because you're cousins, or?
Well, it's funny. That's such an interesting question. I almost feel like I was always the music
Yeah.
I mean, I'm careful to call myself a musician. I don't know because I don't play professionally any instruments, but I'm really good with my voice and inflection and delivery and all that. So, I mean, I would say vocalist.
Singer, vocalist.
MC.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would say almost immediately because my poetry has always had a rhythm. I'm glad
you brought that up.
It's always been that. And so, but I didn't actually take it seriously. So like, I probably recorded like my first song at like 18 or 19 with like my boyfriend at the time. It was pretty dope. And then I lived in the Dominican Republic for about 4 months.
Oh, no way.
Around 19 actually.
Yeah.
And
damn, at 19, that's fire.
Yeah. And I met this guy. Him and I recorded a song as well. But I didn't actually take it. And I've done that like throughout the years, very like, what's the word? Sparingly?
Yeah.
You see, sparingly? What's the adjective? I don't know what it is. But but I didn't actually start taking it seriously doing it until last year during COVID, which a friend of mine was very helpful in offering me an opportunity to record and
to do music.
Yeah, record an album and with a producer and et cetera.
Gotcha.
And so I started to actually focus on it and realize like, why haven't I been doing this? You know, because I was with Soul Sessions and other event organizing, I have been sort of creating a space or a stage for other artists to do that. But I had always wanted to do that for myself. I just never made time for it.
Gotcha.
And now I am. And so that's so it's very recent, actually, as of last year.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up because I feel like I've been feeling that lately when I do my mantras in the morning or throughout any time I think about it. It's like I don't say every, but I would say most words, sentences or word organization, if you allowed yourself to actually just say it and keep saying it, it builds a natural rhythm, right? Like I started with, I am in control of my energy. And I'd be like, I am in control of my energy. I am in control of my energy. And then I am in control of my energy. Yeah. I am in control. Like, and then it would start. But then I would say, I am safe. And that brings a different vibe. And then I wanted to sing it like, I am safe.
Right.
You know, like it wants to bring something else into how we feel in my body. So I was like, I literally just started realizing that when I started doing like daily mantras and stuff, because I'm a moving motherfucker. Right. You know, like dance, I need to be moving. I need to be moving my body. And it brought that rhythm for me to move while I was doing it instead of just being in my mind. It's like, I need to make this part of my body too, to let that deep trauma get the fuck out of me too.
Movement, that's important.
Yeah.
Like, to your point, moving is essential to really moving out of the mind, right? And getting it out through the body so that we're exhausting our thoughts. That really is just overthinking.
Yep.
And when you get it out of the body, it's just like, so yoga or dancing or what have you is really in high service of dissolving karma, if you will.
Yeah, I guess you could put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how do you get into those spaces for you to write this poetry and create the music? What techniques or what ways do you get into a space to do that?
I wish I had a really cool answer for that. I honestly don't know how it happens. So it depends. So if I'm pretty excited or emotional or super, let's just say, mental about something and I have the thought, I'll just write it down. I don't ever sit and write a poem at once.
Oh, okay.
So that's another strategy, is that I'm basically writing about how I feel or my lifestyle or what I'm seeing or what I'm noticing within myself and outside of myself. And I'm having like one-liners or two-liners come to me. And then eventually they become a piece, but I didn't really know they were connected because they're all pretty much, let's just say, bars or phrases around the same time that I've been feeling whatever I'm feeling, or connecting the dots around what I'm connecting. So it just becomes this one piece eventually, but I didn't intend for the two to be
purposeful.
Right. That's one way. The other thing is I am a pretty quick writer. So if I'm in the studio, you play a beat for me, I can write it in like 20 minutes. So I can actually write a piece for like musically I can write pretty fast.
Gotcha.
When I'm writing a poem, it's much slower. It's an interesting process.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, because I just need to sit with the beat, play it back in my headphones for as long as I need to, and I'll probably have something ready in about 20 30 minutes.
The words come based off the beat.
Right.
The state of how it makes you feel.
How I feel and what's on my mind.
Yeah.
Whereas a poem, I'm just really sitting with myself and I'm having, and then give me another day or two and then something else, and then it kind of casually comes together. Sometimes it takes months. I don't.
Yeah.
But music is way faster for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there one that you prefer? Is it both kind of just like different expressions of your facets? I mean, like different pieces of your personality, your embodiment come out in different ways. So probably equal, or how do you feel?
Yeah.
Or which one do you favor, I guess, is the question.
Right. I guess it's not really one over the other.
Okay.
I can say that I find high bliss when I'm performing with music.
Okay.
Like I feel when I'm spitting or when I'm, delivering some type of melody, I feel way more enthusiastic
in there
than maybe doing something a cappella. It just all depends, though. Sometimes that's really powerful.
Yeah,
too.
For sure.
But I don't have a preference of one or the other, but I will say that I experience high bliss when I'm in the studio or I'm performing a song or something like that.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
So what are you trying to create out of that then? All this, what are you trying to create for your life through these things?
So, the big question. So with music, so if I can speak about medicine for a moment.
Do whatever you want to do.
So when I say medicine, plant medicine is okay. So anyone really in the space of plant medicines or consuming those things really find that everything is pretty much simple, right? Except we've made it complex, so it's not so simple. But we really, people typically discover that everything's connected. Love is really at the core of our being. Mm-hmm. Everything is pretty much thriving or moving towards unity and oneness. And everything that we've identified with other than that is an illusion. Not everything. Just right. And but so
pretty much everything.
Right, pretty much. And so I believe that those spaces consuming plants aren't for everybody. Mm-hmm. And A, not everybody's ready for that. Mm-hmm. B, not everybody's I guess you can say system is prepared to even consume something like that, depending on their, let's just say, lifestyle, what they're consuming physically and psychologically. It's not for everyone. And so I thought, well, damn, humans humans
well, damn.
Humans could really benefit from understanding themselves, right?
100%.
Like, right? And a lot of people have done this, and many people are doing this, and many people are not healing and not looking at themselves. They rather blame and all these things. And so I figured if I could put medicine in music and deliver that to people, they don't have to attend a ceremony with a curandero and they don't have to necessarily consume plants. They could just listen and allow the sound. So all of my music is tuned to 432 hertz. So when you hear it, so the standardized tuning is 440, which is actually sort of conflicting to our systems on a cellular level and like our plasma, the aura as well. So when you hear these other frequencies, 432, and I mean, we could keep going there.
We go all, do it every way. We going, dude. We going.
So for I know many people do know, but for those who don't know, 432 is where we resonate in the heart space. A lot of people.
Mind if I just say, so like, if you don't know anything we're talking about, look up frequency waves and how they affect the human body and how they affect different things. All these things are like scientifically proven that they do affect us. So
right, and positively, literally mood clearing things out of our system. And when I say that, I mean on not just a cellular physical level. I mean also on a metaphysical level, our aura, literally cleansing things out of our field through sound. Sound is probably one of the highest forms of therapy. Right. And so when you hear a song, when you hear one of my songs, for people who don't know that it's tuned to 432 are going to feel something. It's going to feel good. They don't know why. But, right? So that's one aspect of it.
That's dope. Is this podcast at 432, bro?
We've got to figure some things out.
We're going to have to check that out, bro. You just bought me a golden nugget right there, dog.
Hey, make sure all the whatever samples you guys are using in the intro.
Hell yeah.
But no, that and then the lyrics and the intention. So I'm putting my heart and like what I know. I'm giving that to people.
Gotcha.
And I'm also acknowledging and surrendering to what I don't know in my songs. And so putting headphones on and listening to it, I feel can literally, from what I've been told even, can literally help someone shift. And so that's my intention behind the music, because it's really not mine, as in I am Tree. Well, really I am. Who chose Tree to do this thing that Tree for a long time didn't really want to do. But when Tree realized it's not about her, it's really about the message or about service, being of service to others. And that it also fulfills me, because you can't be of service to others without it honoring or helping you. Right? That's where we kind of get sick and become overwhelmed and upset and frustrated with people because we're helping people, but we're looking at service as an act that's done externally. But when I know that you are me, we're always in service to self. The way we are, and so it's happening simultaneously. It's already going on, but that shift, that psychological shift has to be there. Not more like I'm just helping myself, right? And it can't be that, because according to the law of one, and for those who want to know more about that, look that up. Really dense reading, but according to the law of one, they say service. They say, notice we don't say that service to others and service to self is, I don't want to get this wrong. Service to others is service unto is service to self, but service to, but don't confuse that with service unto oneself. Meaning that if I'm just trying to benefit myself, I've been pretty much not sharing my heart. But if I'm filling myself up and I'm finding joy and I'm realizing who I am, I can share that with everyone that I come in contact with. Granted, right? So I'm automatically
hell yeah.
I'm automatically serving my get it. So I'm just
I'm here. That's welcome to the Decisive Element podcast, motherfuckers. This is what we're doing. This is what it's about. You hear what I'm saying? God damn it.
By the way, side note, somebody please go check out It's on YouTube. It's this dispatcher and this like Latino like gangster dude having a conversation. He calls 911 to get some help. I think you look up Compton Dispatch on like YouTube, and that shit is funny as fuck. So I just wanted to throw that out real quick. I want to quote it.
Hell yeah, quote
it. He just be saying he's calling the the dispatcher is like he's like so are you male? He's like, yeah, motherfucker.
Dude, yeah, I've like, seen that.
Of course, you heard it. You heard it.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, it's really funny.
And he's like, I'm just trying to. He's like, the dispatcher's like, no, the dude's like, too much information and shit. Because the dispatcher asking him a bunch of questions. He's like,
because he's just trying to figure out like where he is. Yeah. He's like, how many people? Like, he's like, man, he got shot. Just bring an ambulance.
He's like, bring an ambulance. He's like, but don't be coming in with all those sirens and shit, you know, just keep it low, keep it quiet. And he was like, he's like, this is some bullshit. And then the dude's just like, yeah, I'm just trying to help you out, or something like that. And he goes, and then the dude goes, It's so funny. It's just hilarious. I just wanted to side note that. But anyway, back to what I'm attempting to do with all this. So eventually I would like to present this piece, this a catalog of some kind that I'm creating into a immersive space, which I've already done something like that with some music that I have out. My friend Keon the One and myself recorded an album called 777. You can find that on Spotify. We just dropped it like a few weeks
recently,
ago.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, give me that link and I'll throw it in the description. So
Perfect.
Listeners on whatever, if you're listening or if you're watching on YouTube, it'll be down below.
Perfect. So that's something we actually dropped last year, but we just put it on Spotify
okay.
like on the 1st of April.
Gotcha.
So that, listen to that. Don't shuffle. Like, listen, it's 5 songs, but it goes from birth to rebirth. So listen
awesome.
from track 1 to 5. But him and I do things like that, and he's pretty much, that's his world. And I would say that the future of events actually is it surrounds immersive experiences. If there isn't some type of stimulation for those who are sensitive and empathic, because most people are, right?
Yeah.
Most people are hiding it in their workplaces, or not most people, some people, a lot of people. But when you can bring that element out of people through an event that you throw, whatever, people really discover something about themselves. And so, you know, I would love for my music to help someone inquire more about themselves.
Yes.
Like, go within themselves.
Yeah. Discover who you are.
Exactly.
Hell
and then, you know, I think all of this leads to shifts in like our entire social environmental structures.
So the why for the business that I call it is that the why of Decisive Element is to empower the individual with growth and healing, to enable the collective, to change the collective. How about I just read it to you?
Please.
I'm like, why am I over here? I'm working on the memorization right now.
I have this Bob Marley quote tattooed on my ribs, and all the time, like, people are like, what does it say? And I'm like, the greatness of man.
I'm like trying to remember. So we believe if we empower the individual and enable healing and growth, which will empower the collective, which will in turn create a new way of living for all.
Nice.
Right. It's kind of saying the same thing. Like, right. If we get the individual to find out who they are, each individual, that is going to change the collective, and that will change the way we view and live our life all the time.
Beautiful that you said that, because I think the idea or the concept that we can fix or change the world is actually not, and I'm going to be clear on this, people, so don't attack me yet, But I think that it's quite an illusion.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
You ain't gonna say it, I'm gonna fucking say it. It's a goddamn
It's
lie.
a lie. But
man in the mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So when you change yourself, it's a domino effect because someone
Exactly.
experiences you and they all of a sudden want to do something for themselves, and then it just keeps
Yep.
going, and then the world has changed.
Yes.
The world has changed like that versus I'm going to go make change.
Yes.
Because if the psychological system or thinking is still present in you working in the government to change whatever reform, which is helpful. Let's not downplay or degrade or negate the help, because
You're trying. You're working at it.
there are a lot of people in spaces that I couldn't be in, like law and all these spaces that are necessary that they're there. They are really making change in these spaces. But the thinking, if the distortion of, if let's just say you're white because you're lighter than me right now.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm not white. Oh, damn, man. Yeah. But
Right.
Yeah,
but let's just go there. Let's play the race. Yeah. Let's play the race game real quick. Right. It's a program. It's a game. Mm-hmm. Right. And we've opted into it a long time ago. Now we're saying, hey, this program doesn't need to be in the server.
Yes.
Just like, I mean, we can name, just like we can go into GMOs and all that.
Everything else. Yeah, even the food. You're destroying the food, destroying the body.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to move this out of the server so that it can operate better and naturally. Right.
Yes.
Right. It's literally a bug in the system.
Yeah.
Right. But if I go in to change laws, which is helpful politically and economically on one level,
Preach. Just keep
but
going.
my psychological thinking is still you, me, them, these differences, it's not this oneness, then I'm perpetuating the system, like sustaining.
And it's subconsciously. So now you're thinking you're doing the right thing by following these organizational laws on paper, but subconsciously you're still exercising the same behavior. So the law doesn't matter.
The law doesn't matter because by law of karma, cause and effect, we'll just experience this thing again. Right. And so that's mostly the thing, is that why are we debating about race? We could talk about melanin all day and its benefits and why it's been like everyone has melanin. Without it, you would be dead. Yes. Right. What chlorophyll is to a plant is what melanin is to the human being. Yes. And so the more you have, the more sensitive one is, the more one can obviously withstand the sun, download literally the codes that are coming from our, I guess you could say the Earth's native sun. That's a whole nother conversation too.
You know what I just found out listening to podcasts on the way here is that the human body produces more energy than the sun does.
Wow, really?
Yeah, check out the Paul Check latest episode.
Wait,
I don't know that much.
How?
By all the firings, our brain. I don't know, man. I'm just quoting some freaking. I was like, I gotta look into it.
But yeah, I don't mean to. I'm not trying to like.
No, you're good. But all he was saying was all the firing within our body, like everything that moves. They're trying to use blood. So like, example, I would say what I've thought is like they're trying to use blood as a battery to when they do like implant stuff, like Tesla's little thing. I don't know if Tesla specifically doing that. I don't think Tesla specifically doing that.
Tesla,
but there is businesses that are trying to use blood as a battery because it has electricity in there. Our bodies are electric.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Everything is energetic. It goes back to the music.
Exactly.
Everything is a frequency. Everything can be brought down to sound waves like that. Our eardrums, that's all they are, listening to sound waves, or equilibrium. When we lose balance, it's waves that mess that up. So like, this is like really important stuff that the whole body is, and they're talking about a shift. There's all types of stuff going on. Right. Back to the point is that it's funny you brought that up about the law and the choices, because I feel that, so I do retention in the military, right? So I try to understand what is the culture of why are people getting out? What is happening? What is going on? And I literally came to this conclusion yesterday, the same conclusion. that it doesn't matter what laws these people put in place. And when I mean these people, it's like all the higher leaderships, all the top.
What do you mean by these people?
Yeah, these people, right? Like all these people, all the higher leaderships, all the ones that are dictating what is supposed to come down structurally, right? The thing is if the psychological doesn't change with those beliefs, none of this changes.
Right.
And there are things that are that are untangible that we have to also look at to understand what's going on. And they need thought process. And they're just not something you can write on a piece of paper all the time. So like when you pick leadership, you can, that's a natural thing too. You can tell in the room who's leaders and who not room, who's like, it's just a natural hierarchy of life. There's every level of plant, different plants. There's the tree, you go to the Amazon, you got one tree. Well, 30 plants live on that one tree, so like there's different ways that the ecosystem and nature, you want to learn nature, you'll figure out how the world works too, right?
Right. So for sure they've taken, only about a few billions of years to figure out how to coexist
exactly. So
do this thing.
Yeah. So it's really interesting that you brought that up today, because I feel like that's been exposed to me lately in my work right now, is that we can make institutional changes and structural changes, but if the culture doesn't change, if we're not thinking about it differently and the knowledge isn't shared to think differently, the structural has is built on sand, and it's still going to collapse. Right.
And it's conditional, and it's not authentic, and everybody fucking feels it.
Yes.
And not everybody knows how to actually verbalize or articulate.
They feel it, and they don't know how to express what they feel, but they know something's wrong.
Right.
Then we're going full circle, back to where we talked about how one time in our lives where we felt like we couldn't be ourselves in all places because we didn't feel safe within inside ourselves to be ourselves.
Safety.
Yes.
The biggest, let me make this point too back about melanin, is that too, when we talk about the earth, and we talk about indigenous peoples on this planet, we talk about, then we have to bring up the Akasha records, which are memories, right? And really pertaining to this earthly realm, not just the earth, but like when we talk about being able to travel in time, and actually download memories from our past and future, or aren't they the same? but anyway, so we can have a conversation about that without being like, I'm fucking pissed at you because of the color of your skin.
Yeah.
I can acknowledge that scientifically what's happening, what's possible, and where we're going without having to shame you.
Yes.
Right? And without having to, but we can acknowledge what both of our ancestors
have done
or have endured. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where we are. It's just like we could get to the conversation beyond the color of our skin, which I find a lot of European descendant people are wanting to do. And it's just like, why can't I can't tell you how many conversations, because apparently people feel comfortable talking to me.
I mean, so, one of my well,
I'll tell you what, right when you walked in here and I met you, you were like, I tried to shake your hand and you gave me a hug. So, I mean, you're pretty open. So,
yeah.
Like, I would feel comfortable talking to you about something like this.
No, sure. I mean? Exactly.
Just to give you an example.
Right. Yeah. And I don't say that in a negative way. I say it because the questions that I get asked sometimes are like, because of the comfort, it's just like, I'm here for it because it's necessary to address. It's necessary to talk about.
All you're saying, like, even the questions are like, damn, you really just said that.
Someone told me about a week and a half ago, this older lady.
Yeah.
She goes, I mean, she said, I mean, I don't get what the issue is with blackface. I mean, black people didn't have an issue with it back then. I'm not sure why they have. She's saying this to me. I said, "You I don't mean to laugh. Kidding me?"
I don't mean to laugh, but that's pretty nuts.
It's pretty fucking like asleep.
Yeah.
I've never heard something that contains such a low awareness, like let me not say low as in like shaming her, but like a lack of awareness and like emotional EQ. Like, are you kidding me? Do you I had to like pretty much give her the let her know, like, I can guarantee you there's not one person who's so-called black that would agree with you. And like
it's like she looked at the anecdote of the person not speaking up about it back in the day as in they didn't care, but it's more like they just didn't feel like they were in the right spot to be able to do that. It's like, but
right, 1920s.
She misconstrued it. Yeah,
it's funny because when you bring this up, it makes me think about like how at some level the people who know enough have to like, or who can see, right? It's in my. I was talking about today too with a friend at work. It's like when Jesus, I'm not Christian and everything, but the Bible is a great lessons of there. And when Jesus was on the cross, and he said, "Forgive them, Father, for they not know what they do." Right. Yeah. So it's like, okay, as a person who can see through the illusions of what is happening, I can see the patterns of thought. I can see the patterns of the stories, the negatives, or the connotations in these stories that maybe they weren't best for everybody, and all these different things. It's like, that's why I always say, like, you got to be the bigger person, right? But it sucks sometimes being the bigger person. It's like you're learning. You at some level you have to absorb, or not. You're not absorbing it, but you're consistently facing it over and over again. And it's just like, that's, I mean, I guess the caveat to that is that's why you need your tribe.
Exactly.
I'm curious. So I'm
that's why, because the world is going to give you all that shit because there's not a lot of people on there. So the support, that where you can go back home and get recharged again. Like, I know this is what the service is. That is the service of to sit there and she probably had nobody else ever tell her that conversation. That's literally why that question arose from her.
Right. She's in her 60s or something, maybe.
Yeah.
And like, she was very genuine about it. And I just had to just really check her very kindly because there were kids present.
I'm curious how you responded to it.
Yeah, I told her, I first told her I highly disagree and that no one who looks like me would agree with that statement. And I told her, I said, it's that type of thinking that is perpetuating racism in the first place, right? It's the fact that if we're talking in context, I don't know, I just mentioned 1920s, but whatever period of time.
I mean,
blackface was a thing.
Jimmy Fallon, all those guys did. Like Jimmy Fallon, all those, a lot of those even late night hosts today, they did it back in the day. They did like blackface kind of. It's not like you're just talking about like 20s and stuff, but it's like
it's still present.
It's still present.
Even like in the 90s, it was happening. But it was weird because everybody was like okay with it because he was almost like you're playing a part. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't think we were ever okay with it. As in, if we're speaking in context, let's just say if we go 100 years ago, right? 100. Right.
I was gonna say I just almost did exactly what that old lady did.
Yeah.
No, but you're saying but I hear you talking in general. Like if they're doing it, that means the majority of people are okay with it.
But that's But I feel like
they think it's okay with it.
But I feel like because white people have not talked to black people about this.
Yes.
And we've lived in a society where we've had to learn about you and you haven't had to learn about us. And we've had to pay our bills. We've had to get our families by. We've had to do these things. 100 and so years ago, we would have been lynched. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you fucking right. We're laughing in the film because we've got a job.
Yeah.
As confusing as that is, you're up against people who do not have your back. So it seems like on film we're having a happy-go-lucky time, but that's not true. Have we listened to Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday?
Yeah.
Like have we really started to tap into the trauma that people are experiencing? And one thing that white people like to do is have a response. Just listen.
Yeah.
We're tired of you trying to figure out how to make yourself feel okay because we're having this conversation. Just listen. All we need is for that to happen versus trying to say, oh, well, you guys didn't have a problem with it. Bitch, we fucking have a problem with you right now. And I'm really trying, and that's the thing about like really understanding the conversation beyond the skin is because once you recognize that we all do come from this one source, we've got to even watch once you have that responsibility, you've got to watch yourself. Speaking for myself, I've got to watch myself and how I respond to what is an illusion, because I do understand that it's just her ignorance, but I'm not going to coddle her either. It's like,
yes, and
like if
that's the same, like back to the Jesus thing. It's just like the same thing, because that's what my counterpart when I was talking brought that up. It seems like that's why the phrase "ignorance is bliss" comes from, because it's just like you don't know nothing, and like goes back full caveat to like children. Children are innocent, so their ignorance is bliss, so they're able to go and play and be free. The goal is to not be ignorant and still be bliss.
Exactly. And to be free. Right.
And that's like the main outcome of all this thing is, and then,
I can't say that I'm completely free in that department.
No, we're all working.
I'm working on it.
The thing is, and I mean, that's the goal, right? Like aim for the highest goal. I might not ever achieve perfection, but that's the consistent aim of what my life wants to be.
Right. I mean, I feel like one day I will not identify with some of the things that this human wants to, or has had to, or we're talking about karmically, but, the idea is to really take this conversation to another level, to where we're not picking each other apart and staying in the game, right? And by the game, I mean the Matrix, and it's just
all
like
the
playing the race game. And so if I were to get really angry at her, now I'm really playing the game.
You're back in the game.
Right. But I could respond to her and check her very kindly, but let her know, look her in her eyes, let her know that it's not okay. And that thinking is why we're here.
Yes.
And
I think it's sorry, you go
You're
ahead.
good, bro.
I was just gonna say, I think it's like really important to like what you did and the way you like approach that conversation, because like if you do just get angry with her, it's gonna turn into like, oh, look at these people getting like so upset. These people, but and like have you ever heard of Daryl Davis? He was like a Chicago like jazz musician back in the day, and he converted like over like 200 members of the KKK. He's a black dude, and he did
this dude on Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Daryl Davis?
Yeah. It's nuts.
I remember
actually, could you put that in the link on this interview so people could watch it?
I just looked up
the Joe Rogan link.
Yeah, it's nuts.
He talks about the whole story on there.
But like he just did it through music, and like he just showed like he met up with these guys, like he put out the thing, but because he was, they're calling him the N-word to his face, but because he was able to like rationally just like talk to him and be like, what really explain to him like that they're not any different. This was back in the day, more in like the 70s and stuff.
Was this televised at all?
Yeah, on Joe.
I think I think they've reached out to him. He's kind of like blown up since it.
Like a documentary. I feel like I've seen something like this.
The guy's like so calm and like it's so crazy. It just like blew my mind. But I'm not, obviously it's like a whole different thing converting KKK members, but just you having that small conversation the way you did with that lady, maybe you changed like her thought process a little bit, and you know what I mean, and maybe it opens the door to like something else. And I think that's just like really and by doing that in that way, I think that's like the best way to go for like moving forward. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I don't know.
I've been having this thought process a lot lately about how, because I watched, I'm Paul Chek, man, has really been blowing my mind lately. So he used the self with the little s as you, right, as me. That's the me. The big self, the self with the big S is everything that influences me, right? So family, culture, society, the tribe, everything that around me, the earth, wind, fires, water and air, right? All the elements, like if I'm destroying the big self, I'm destroying the little self.
Okay.
And another thought process I had with that is like, in big corporations or in businesses, period, if the system that you're trying to implement in the system cannot be implemented at home in the family, it is not a good system. Because what you're talking about, if you were sisters or you were her mother or some type of dynamic, when I'm talking to my sons or my wife, I got to remember, like, they're not my enemies. They're not my frenemies. They're not someone opposing. These are the people I love dearly, closest to me. If I hurt them or they're hurt by something else, what is usually the first thing we really want to do inside? Is listen and understand. Because I don't want to hurt you again. And we have, that the argument can be made that our society is not structured for the family. So because it's not structured for the family, all the systems actually fall apart.
Right. Very intentionally done.
Yeah.
But I guess wasn't predicted to.
They were just chasing the green.
Exactly.
Follow the money. Follow the money. If you follow the money, speaking of, I was thinking about these fruit trays while I went to the fruit and the veggie tray. Trays, yeah. And I was like, is there an organic platter? I want an organic platter.
It's like, no, you've got to actually go cut up the carrots and fucking broccoli.
Or hopefully if I go to Sprouts, they cut it up for you and it's an organic one. Because, I don't know if you guys, just to say GMOs come from isolation camps from Nazi, from the Holocaust. Like, all right, we got this gas. I don't know what we're going to do with it. Well, no, let's use it to keep fruit, vegetables.
I mean,
you can go hold down that rabbit hole, but it's just like the whole thing is chasing money. The issue is money. So it's like chase your bliss, right? We were having that conversation. Chase your bliss. You want other people to tell you, Joseph Campbell has a whole documentary on, the mythology and what is the myth. And he's like, chase your bliss and everything else kind of comes, but it's also like you got to live, you got to run, you got to do all those things. So find balance between everything, but continue chasing your bliss, because that's what actually, playfulness is what inspires lightness and youngness. And like, I'm trying to live a long time, man, so I got to play.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah. Play like a child.
Yeah. And we got to laugh too, man, because these are serious things that need to have serious conversations, but they need to be like, the whole reason is to get to love so we can play and dance.
Right. We've got to have these hard conversations. Yeah. Like, even when you just mentioned the food, it's just like, can you buy an organic tray? Even the fact that there are carrots because, once we get into like alkalinity and acidity and hybrid vegetables, it's just carrots, broccoli, hybrid vegetables.
Yeah,
but
you can go deep.
We can go deep, right? But then it's just like, it's so many things. The game has been built so fucking well. It's like I almost clap every day at how fucking good it is. It's like, fucking good. You fucking got him.
You did. I'm telling you. And my poem yesterday, that's what I wrote for you, is called, or inspired from what reading your stuff was called, It's Unfair. It's unfair. Is it fair? And one of the poets is like, it's an unfair, unseen game. I'm a part of an unfair, unseen game. I'm just going to read it.
Please do.
I'm just going to read it, dude. Because I just like, it was this literally kind of how I was feeling yesterday about what it was. So the title is, What's Fair? It's Unfair. It feels unfair. What's real? What's fake? I can't tell the difference. What difference does it make? I see things. I feel things. I know nothing. Is that the thing? Is that the game? Am I a pawn in this unfair, unseen game? Why am I here? Why am I there? Do I belong anywhere? Is there somewhere to belong, somewhere to call my home, somewhere to be known, somewhere to feel seen, somewhere to be a place where I am me? I don't understand what this game is for me. Will I ever make it there? Will I even know when I'm there? That is home. That's where I belong. I'm lost in this game of hurt and pain. Something is looking to someone to blame. Why do I want to point the finger? Why do I seek to point the finger? Why am I moving in this place? Why am I in this rat race? What is this unfair place? I see hurt. I feel the pain. I live in an unfair game. I sense a disconnect. I don't want to project. There's something here, something to see. Please, me, let me see what is missing for me.
Yeah, then fuck it. Then when you realize nothing's missing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rocco Moon.
Oh yeah. And that's just the state I was in yesterday.
Right.
And the whole state was like, my brother died, and I'm like, damn, it's just unfair. But then I just allowed myself to be in that emotion, right? Just see what that feels like. But then on the other side, it's like, well, now I know what it feels like to be alive. And now I'm grateful for my sister who's here, my brother's over there, because I know one day we're going to move past to the unknown, and I might not live in this realm again, in this consciousness, understanding that tree's right next to me, right? It's going to be some other people talking or whatever else that is there. I don't know all those things all the time, but I got to appreciate here and now. So be in the present, right? So it's just like, yeah. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
for writing me a poem. That's so beautiful, and it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, I mean, we were talking a little bit in the car about that particular trauma that you went through with your brother, and like, wow, like where you are now with just being able to move and navigate your emotions, and is beautiful. And I really pray for that for people who are grieving everywhere.
Hell yeah.
You're, like, doing a really, really beautiful job. And like, I mean, I think there's if you want, right, with consent, to share more about that process with people.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's why we're here. Decisive Element, like, this is part of it. As I get used to it, there's things coming.
Right. I want to connect something that I said before when I was just like, the game, they're good. I want to clear up when I said they, because they are us.
Now it's us.
Well, everything's connected.
Well,
so the illusion that they're over there and not here is just an illusion. I may not be in the same karmic cycle as that individual.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to say that.
No, I like that, because that's something that I've been working with my Ren's group leader course thing. And one of the codes in this group is I statements. Always I statements, because I don't want to project on you. And what needs to happen is that what this podcast is really about is like, this is self-ownership. I got to own all my shit, because that's the only way I can do new shit, is by owning my own shit, owning my past shit, owning everything that happens. So ownership of your reality is the fundamental place where I feel like, you got to start. And it's hard, because owning your shit means, damn, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't go here, I didn't do that. But also on the flip side, here's a practice for everybody. Get a whiteboard, get a piece of paper, write what you're not good at, and then write what you're good at. And you can take that practice to everything. Typically, we're always so good at seeing what we're fucked up about. And we'll write 30 things. The other thing, we'll write 5, 10. It's like, we're so trapped in fear. Okay, cool. But how about we, shout out to fucking, what's that? Damn, I just lost it. The Showman with, it's a movie show. Wolverine.
Okay.
You guys don't know the movie?
I mean,
Damn.
I really love the Wolverine, but sorry,
I
guess I'm not that big of a fan.
Nah, but it was just I don't know, but it was The Showman. I think it's called The Showman, but he talks about a million dreams. He needs to have a million dreams to get what he wants, and he tries so many different things. It's like, what if you use that same energy, your imagination, for the negative things? How about you use that imagination for the positive things?
Right.
But you just got to focus it. And that's what the mind's for. Focus, repetition, effort.
Right. And I think because I wouldn't even say I'm like super realized and focused. And I'm getting there. And I think astrology is a huge part of that, right? Like understanding like where the weaknesses and potentials lie.
That's a great way to put it. Yep.
Overcome. Like as a Gemini, I have to actually focus on focusing.
Yeah.
Because I can be here and there and there. And do it really well.
Yeah.
But it's distracting. Right.
Gotcha.
And so I feel like that's one of my karmic things to overcome, is to actually focus on a few things, because I can do many things, but it's not allowing me to actually go deep or in depth with the things that I really want to do, or know or seek or whatever. And so like really like practices to focus is
important.
It's important.
Makes me think of Jordan Peterson. So how far would you go if you just did one thing over and over again?
because we are kind of obsessed with having to do, I do this and I do that, and it's just like fuck, because it sounds fucking good, right?
Yeah.
But it's like we've got to kind of recognize or discern between the heart and the mind, meaning, or the ego and the heart, or ego and intuition, right? It's just like, who are we pleasing? At the end of the day, I'm really here to clear my karma.
Yeah.
And I'm here to show you what I've learned, not by showing you because I'm your teacher, but by default, I'm here to reflect what I've learned, and hopefully that can help you go within yourself, right? And so it's just like, really, that's the ultimate thing. But we're playing this game again. The game's so good, it'll trick you into believing that you have to have a bunch of things on your resume in order to be valuable.
It's funny. Yeah, I worked through that a couple weeks ago. I was like, why do I build skills? Yeah. And why do I build skills in multiple different things? And I thought, am I building skills to be of service genuinely because that's what I'm interested in and that's what I really love? Or am I building skills to show up to the tribe and be like, look what I can do. Love me. Those are two different intentions and come from two different things, even though it's the same thing I'm doing.
Exactly. The intention is what makes it different. And one is foggy, one is clear. Yeah. I do it because I enjoy doing this, and because those people love me in this tribe or accept me in this tribe. I share my gifts willingly, but it still all starts with me. And there was a time in my life that, I wouldn't say time because it never goes away, right? Like, or it's something that consistently work, and that I feel like I wanted everyone to know my gifts because I wanted their external validation. And it's like, nah, no more. Like, my intention is because this is really what I'm into. This is what, back to what you said, what makes me feel alive, what makes me do that. And in turn, I hope that this inspires you, but I'm just literally doing it because I like to do it. There's no other effects. And if you accept me, then you accept me. Naturally, the flow of life will bring the tribe that is there for me. For sure, right. Water.
Damn. Now we gotta drink some water, dog.
If you're listening to this right now, drink some water.
Yeah. Drink some water. It's fucking.
It's a reminder. This is an alarm.
Stay hydrated, man. You know how much important, a lot of people.
That's me, dude. I'm the worst. I forget.
It's hard.
I did today.
It is. Yesterday, I barely drank any water, and I was like, I broke my water bottle, my regular one, my carrying one. I just dropped it and it fucking shattered. I was like,
damn, you gotta get the Yeti, dude.
I'd had
step
that.
up.
I know.
No, I just don't. I have to like really think about it.
Oh yeah.
To drink water, like unless I'm like drinking, I don't have like the quench, Oh, you get what I mean?
Perfect.
Yeah, I think we've got to really. I don't want to use the word force because that doesn't sound good. But we've got to, when you remember and you don't want to, because that's really what it is. It's like, water. But our oxygen levels are low. Like, think about the environment that we're living in and the nature of what this planet is now versus what it was, I don't know,
40 years ago, 30,
or 35,000 years ago, when people were naturally operating off of, probably what we consider why people take mushrooms these days. People were naturally there, because the oxygen levels were so high. And we've got to literally be thinking about, like, we're made of majority water, and in order for our toxins to move through our body, I mean, I don't have to give you the spill, but basically it's important.
The whole thing. Well, yeah, the whole thing. And if you're mostly water and you're not drinking water, how do you think that affects your mental cognition? How do you think that affects your emotions? The lady came on one thing beautifully. Like, anytime that someone's upset, always ask first two questions. Are they hungry or sleepy? Because that's the first two questions you would ask a kid. Like a little baby, are they hungry or are they sleepy? And hunger falls into water. Because even you might be thirsty, but it feels just like hunger. And an interesting thing I learned yesterday was that hunger is actually when you're hungry, it's actually like you'll get saliva. It's actually up here. It's not from your gut. Psychology. There's a study that when they did the classical conditioning, when they ring the bell for dogs, and they came to get food and there was food, the first thing would happen, and then they did it without food, it don't matter. And they conditioned them to ring the bell. They studied how much saliva would come. So saliva is actually the thing that lets us know that maybe we're hungry, that we're actually hungry or thirsty.
Wow.
When you get water, you know, your mouth gets watery, your food, your hunger actually doesn't come from your gut. I was like, I can see that though.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. Because I didn't even know that. But you know, we are addicted to eating. And so it's just like eating such low nutritious, there we go.
Yeah.
Foods, you know, we're constantly hungry.
And that's why we're constantly hungry, because they're low. Yeah, yep.
Guess we should grab some Nutty Buddies.
Yeah. Let's go. All right, man. I guess we kind of answered the rest of the questions. Like I was talking about, you said how she felt. Like I was always like, it's one thing I always admired about you. It's like you always feel calm and strong and strength. Like, and the duality of being strong and calm at the same time is so important. You know, and I just praise you with that. I really appreciate witnessing you in that realm. So thank you.
Thank you. No need to praise me, but I'll
give you a positive reflection.
Word.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Externals is still good. You know, that's a weird conversation on our podcast, our solo podcast, the number 10, the last one, was how would you know what love feels like if you're not open to love?
We talked about that.
Yeah, remember when you were saying you don't when he didn't say thank you, you didn't know how to receive a compliment.
Oh yeah, I was just saying how, dude, I like someone told me they're like, every time I give you a compliment, like you bash yourself. It's like, instead of just saying thank you.
Yeah.
And I figured that out about myself. I'm like, damn, I just like, they'll be like, oh, you got nice hair, whatever. And then I'll be like, yeah, I don't know, whatever. And like, I'll downplay it for some reason.
Try.
Yeah. I'll like say bad stuff about it.
How many times do we do that throughout the day when people are trying to give us love or are giving us love, but we're not really open to receiving love? So will we even know what love feels like if it's coming to us?
Did you know that it's actually not vibrationally accurate to be only giving love? It's actually required, and I'm not saying required by like, I'm saying by like cosmic law,
nature shit,
right? By natural law to receive too, because if you're not receiving, then it's kind of inauthentic to be giving. Because you're not allowing other people to be of service.
Yes.
It gives you joy to be able to give as well, just as much as it gives me joy to be able to give, so receive.
Yes.
And that's something that I've had a very tough time learning. And and I'm still working through that, but I'm way more open than I've ever been to receiving in my life.
Hell yeah. Yes. Me too. Learning.
Kind of crazy.
So I like this. What's next for the blooming tree? Like I did that too.
Yeah.
I'm just like giving my confidence to myself.
What's next? Well, right now for the foreseeable future, I am focused on like content, putting this album out, putting some records out with the collective I'm working with, creative fun, creative. Creating fun. It's a bunch of things we've been saying, but creating fun is actually the thing. And that alongside with visuals and really building my brand. And it's weird to say my brand because like it's interesting that Tree identifies with a brand. I'm working through that, right?
It's one of those words. It's like it feels gross saying it, but it's like it really is like that is just part of it.
Yeah,
it's an extension.
It's just like fuck humans. If I've got to build a brand for you to,
it's an extension of who you are.
Love, fine.
Yeah, it's an extension of who you are. You're building like that's I guess how I put it with the podcast and the business. Like what I'm building is just more of an extension of who I am and what I believe and my beliefs, and I want to manifest them in a 3D realm.
Right,
not just internally.
Right, and hoping that inspires someone.
Yes.
Right, to be themselves.
Yes.
And so that in traveling is sort of immediately next for me, and then from there I'll have more answers. But for sure, before a year ago I would have had more. I feel like I've completely wiped my slate, if you will, clean. I'm operating off of a blank canvas, and I'm figuring out who Tree is now.
Gotcha.
Without all the other things that I was identifying with or doing, which were all good things. But now I'm like, I want to go a different direction, and just really going to the extreme there, so I can realize that potential within myself or within the consciousness that is Tree. At least.
Yeah. You know, it makes me think, because you see before COVID, and I too, like, different person before COVID and all this stuff. So it's like, this might be a weird trickery thing we're going through right now, but it has shaken us to reevaluate what is going on within the individual person. And we might not see that manifest in the collective for a couple of years, but I feel like there's going to be some type of shift that comes from what we all just experienced, and I guess still sort of kind of experienced still, but COVID's over. Hey.
Right, but COVID, and not everybody will agree with me, and when I say this, I do mean this very gently, and just hear me out. It was necessary.
No, for sure.
It was actually our karma, right?
We needed it to happen.
Right, but yeah.
So it's not a bad, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, this chaos is not always a bad thing. It sucks in the moment, but the expression that comes out is what, I mean, you can, all the pressure, diamonds, pressure, all this shit. Like, you got to go through the chaos to get there. So
exactly. I think for a lot of people, not just sitting with themselves and looking at themselves like, okay, what's important to me?
Yeah.
And then the environmental effect that it's had positively on our planet. And also, even with the chaos and deaths that have come from this thing, I feel like has also helped individuals bloom into who they are.
Yes.
And so that's a hard thing to say to people. I mean, but it's
the truth. I mean, if my brother didn't die, would I be the same person that was here right now?
Yeah.
Probably not. And it just is what it is. Once again, it's like it's the universal law right now that we die in this realm, and if we come back incarnate, if we go somewhere else, that's not for our decision to be made. So just enjoy the moment.
Right.
Anything else you want to share there, Young Tree? Young Tree Hill.
Young Tree, you come fuck with me. No, I think just keep up with me online and
share it.
Yeah.
What is it? At Tree?
At Tree Hills. So TreeHillzz. Instagram. I'm on Facebook sometimes, but
Yeah, I know.
Tree
Facebook,
Hill,
like that stepchild.
Yes, for sure. They should figure that out.
Even though they're both owned by Facebook, but they still a stepchild.
Facebook's good for like groups.
Yes.
Like keep sharing.
Yeah.
Like that's what Facebook should turn into, just fucking that.
They should. You're right.
You know what's funny is like that. Remember, that's what happened to MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace was like everybody had a profile, and then all of a sudden it was like, check out my band. It's on MySpace. That was like people's bands were back in the day.
But
like
you know
the
what?
Scene. Remember the Scene? I don't know if I guess it's more a white people thing. The emo scene.
I'm glad you know.
The emo scene. Yeah.
I'm glad you know. It definitely was.
He be telling me shit. I'm like, that's a white person thing.
Right. It's like, what the fuck don't you talking about?
But we love Mustache Mike though, man. Shout out to Mustache Mike.
No, but MySpace was dope for teaching us coding, and then we fucking forgot after that.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we all didn't realize it, but we were coding HTML on your own MySpace. Everybody.
You literally just blew my mind, but you're right, because you put music on. Come on, how many people I want? The color in the back.
Everything. Yeah. We were on.
Yeah, we were all coding. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that's half of what coding is, like copy pasting stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Really.
Cool.
Well, I do want to say one thing.
Say
I want to
everything
say,
you want right now. It's your stage right now.
I want to say I love you, and I want to say I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this interview, and I pray for all living beings, light, love, bliss. To, if it's not a fuck yes, if it's not a hell yes, it's probably a no, right? Or sit with it, right? Because if it doesn't feel like a fuck yes, but it doesn't feel like a no, just sit with it. But like, honestly, folks, we've got to honor ourselves, and like, don't wonder why you're unhappy or why something keeps happening if you're making the same decision. It's not about anyone else. It's about you, period, blank. And I love you, and I hope that that's receivable. And thank you for having me here. And
you're welcome.
yeah.
Thanks for being on. All right, peeps. You heard it. We love you. Appreciate you. Subscribe, like, follow her on Instagram. She gave you the link. We'll have it down on the description also.
Perfect.
And that's it. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Take care now. Bye-bye then.
See ya. I always do like the corniest line.
Me too, man.